All right, so all week we have been counting down like the little series of 4 videos that I had for Final Fantasy VII Remake release week. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to do that with you all. You all responded. Very cool. Some people have had differing opinions, and that's awesome. It's wildly awesome. It's wildly cool. And I respect everybody's opinions on that and all the things I've been talking about. But it all kind of has led to this. This is a video that I've wanted to do for months, just months, since I started putting time into YouTube and all that kind of stuff. This is a video I've wanted to put out and talk to everybody about because I think it could kind of speak to some other people. And so basically, I want to talk about why, personally, for me, and I got into it a little bit last night with why I think Final Fantasy VII is the greatest video game ever made. Why it is the greatest video game ever made. I got into it a little bit last night, but I want to go into more depth tonight and talk more specifically about some things, and you all kind of see where I'm coming from. And I think a lot of you all are going to relate to it. I'm not sharing this on kind of like a selfish kind of way. I'm sharing it because I think a lot of you all can relate to my story. So, as many of you all know, and a lot of you all have enjoyed some of my work, like my art and my writing and stuff like that. It all kind of started to make sense that I should be doing those things when I first played this game. In my preteen and teenage years, I'm from an agricultural community where it's like, when I was growing up, you either had like big trucks and cars, or you were full on into sports, or you were working on the farm or something like that, and those are all awesome, and I tried to be the sports guy, you know what I mean. I've always been athletic. I've always been very athletic, but I didn't have a mind for sports, you know what I mean. Like, I was always athletic, but I was never really good at sports, and it was tough for me because I thought there was something wrong with me. My dad and my uncles and everybody were big into cars and sports and all that kind of stuff. And I was to a degree. I love sports, don't get me wrong. I love my Chicago Bears. I love, watching a good basketball game and stuff like that. But you put me on the field, you put me on the court, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Oh, post route, oh, blitz, or what am I doing? Pick and roll off the 2-block, what? And then I'm like, my brain's just not wired for it. I have a lot of friends who went on to play some sports in college that are coaching teams now and stuff like that, and you have to have a mind for that kind of thing. It was at this point when I started to discover, by the time I got cut for the basketball team like the third time, but maybe it's not that people were out to get me or people just didn't like me. Maybe it was me. Maybe I am not supposed to be doing these things. But at the time, also, I was kind of a closet case as far as the things I was into. Like, I was into role-playing games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 2 and 3. And, on the weekends, like, when everybody got a PlayStation, basically, I just saved up enough money to buy a used Super Nintendo off of a guy. And I would rent Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, Chrono Trigger every weekend from the local movie shop, the Movie Warehouse. I'm from Harrodsburg in Kentucky. It's a little town in Kentucky, and I would go in there and rent them every weekend and play them. And a couple of my friends knew what I was into, and they were like, that's not really my thing, but that's cool, man. We're like bros, I didn't really know anybody else that was into that kind of stuff, and I didn't have anybody to share it with, So I felt like I was weird, and I was always into, like, anime. I would watch it when I could, if I could find it. Into comic books like X-Men and Punisher and all that kind of stuff. I was always a Superman guy, reading comic books. And later I would discover Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. But I wasn't good at sports, even though I felt like I should be. And I had no interest in cars and sports cars and big trucks and stuff like that. And I wasn't a farmer. I lived in town, so it was like I didn't have really anything that spoke to me. And then a couple of my friends, I was starting to get into like a really bad depression early. Early, I thought, And I didn't know. I thought there was something wrong with me, like really wrong with me, and there was, But I thought it was something that was that I was just like naturally just broken or messed up, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I just became a recluse. I started just like hanging out, not doing anything with anybody, hanging out by myself and staying home and playing games and stuff, because I couldn't figure out what it was that was wrong. And then a couple of my friends told me that, man, you got to play this Final Fantasy VII. This is really good. And I was like, what? I was like, when did they skip from 3 to 7? Because I didn't know that 3 was really 6. You know what I mean, at the time. And so I played it a little bit at their house and stuff, and they would pass it off to me, let me play it. And then I was at this point where I started to figure out that there were other people around me kind of into the stuff that I'm into. You know what I mean? And I've told people this story at art shows and stuff before, and they come by and we talk about like Final Fantasy VII art, and I'll tell this story. I'll tell it to all of you all. It was Christmas 1997, and me and my dad, we lived in a little, like a duplex kind of apartment, if y'all know what those are. If some of you may not. But, and it was kind of a low-income part of town. And so it was Christmas Eve. We just had dinner with my family and stuff like that. Got a few little small presents, packs of socks and drawing pads, because people knew I liked to draw and stuff like that, The presents that are just kind of like, we love you, we know you, but we don't really know what you're into, so here's this. There's those kinds of presents. And I'd been hinting at Dad about this game. I've been telling Dad about this game, like, look, I love this. This is great. I want to play it. I want to be able to play it, And so Christmas Eve, he told me to take the laundry down to the laundromat. And so I get down to the laundromat. I'm dumping the hamper of clothes into the laundry, putting the quarters in. And then a box is in the bottom of the hamper. It was a PS1. My dad had gotten it for me, put it in the bottom of the hamper. So I ran back up to my house and I shook the box at my dad. And I was like, oh, I was just making noise, He's like, that's what you wanted, right? Is that the gaming thing you wanted? And I was like, yeah, that's it. He's like, where are the clothes? So I had to go finish the clothes. And I had to get to the local Walmart. And I went into Walmart, and with what little money I had at the time on me, I had a little bit of Christmas money, a little bit of money I made from like working a fast food spot. And I bought a memory card, the strategy guide that I still have to this day, like right here, the one I've been using on my streams, and a copy of Final Fantasy VII. And I was set for months. Just months I was set. Like, I played the hell out of that game. And we just had a little 13-inch black and white TV. A lot of you all don't even know what those are now, but it was all we had. So I had to hook it up to the little like 2-prong attachment that had the screw cable on the back of it that I could hook the PS1 up to. And I sat there and played all the way through Final Fantasy VII twice on a little 13-inch black and white screen. That's all I had, Yeah, there was some materia that I missed because you couldn't see it. You couldn't see it, So, but and that was the start. That was really the start. And I started figuring out the second time I played through the game, I really got into the narrative that these characters were a lot like me. They were trying to be, a few of them were trying to be something that they just weren't. And then they had to figure out what they were really supposed to be, especially Cloud, namely, that comes to mind. And, conquering not just conquering evil, but conquering yourself. And like as I dealt with depression and all the stuff that came with that for years after this, up into my mid-20s, mid-late 20s actually, it was something I would go back to often. There were times when living on my own and when I went to college, I lived on my own a few times, and then I had roommates and stuff on and off. But I would get in these really deep, dark places, and I felt like I was kind of a weird kid, especially in my early 20s, and I just couldn't explain to people that I was weird because I was afraid they would like kick me out of the house or not want me around or something. So whenever I got to feeling like, man, I'm just going to a dark place, I would pop that game in, and it would bring me back to my senses. It would bring me back to where I was. It was really deep, really profound. And then living on my own in my 20s, I got to some dark places, some really bad spots, and every time I would have some bad thoughts or whatever, and I would go to that game. I would go to that place with those characters and with that familiar story, and it was like going back to an old friend who just understood you, And yeah, it's just to a lot of people, it is just a game. It is a disc you pop in, and it's, you know, numbers on a disc and programs, and it reads, and it does these things when you do these things. But to a lot of us, and to me, it's so much more than that. It's a lot more than that. And I'm just, you know, it affected me in a profound way, and it hit me in a way. It hit me in a way that it told me, you know, it's okay to be who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are, and enjoy the things that you enjoy, because, you know, you're not hurting anybody. You know, this is a fun thing. This is a good thing. This is a therapeutic thing, and it's, you know, I was always raised, you know, be strong, suck it up, be tough, you know, and I think to an extent in life you do need to do that. But at the same time, it's good to have those things and those devices that can help you, and this game was the one that helped me, you know. And it kept having an effect on me. You know, when I got to a point where I felt like my mind and my soul were healed, you know, and in a good spot, then I would play it, and it would be like, I want to do this. I want to create stories to entertain people and to maybe help people in the way that this story helped me, you know. And so I started writing. I started making artwork. I started doing, you know, different things, different creative things. I started really stretching my legs creatively in my late 20s, and that's why I got such a late start. Most people get started in their early 20s. I didn't get started to my late 20s, early 30s, because I wasn't there. I wasn't in a place where I could do it. And this game is the reason I can do it. It is. I mean, that's, to me, that's why this is. I'm sorry, my throat's getting tight. I'll get a little choked up. I'm sucking it back. I am getting a little choked up talking, because this is the first time I've really talked openly in depth about it. I'm talking about it with you all. You know, and like I said, this is a special video to me. I've wanted to do this for a long time, because this game, and more than a few times, probably saved my life. Not because I was going to do anything horrible to myself, because I was going down a bad road. You know, I was going down a dark place where I was getting ready to just block everybody and everything out. You know, and if it wasn't for these polygonal characters and this text-based story that I could just pop into my PlayStation or my PS2 or whatever at the time, and whatever machine I had to play it, if it wasn't for that, I would be off doing something by myself, just working and being as alone as I possibly can, and just seeing my family on the holidays, and I would be a totally different person. I probably wouldn't have become the outgoing person that I became, the driven person that I became. All the creative work and all the things that I do are inspired by the things that inspired me, like Vampire Hunter D, Ninja Scroll, Dragon Ball Z, Chrono Trigger, X-Men, you know. DC, I was a big DC Comics guy back in the day, you know. Even though X-Men's Marvel, I liked DC. They were kind of like, I was always big into mythology, and they seemed to be the mythological characters to me, really. And all these things got put in the blender and made this perfect drink that was called Final Fantasy VII. That's when it all made sense for me, you know. So here I am, you know. This game was profound, and it led me to a community of people that I'm friends with to this day, that we still talk about this game. We theorize about some of the things that were maybe meant when this guy said this one thing, or this girl did this one thing, and, you know, who was really Genova, who was really Sephiroth. You know, we still theorize about these things to this day. And this, if it wasn't for this game, you know, I don't know where I would have wound up, you know, because we all need that person or those people or that thing or that whatever in our life at a certain point to pull us out of the hole. I had good people around me. I had great people around me, but I didn't feel like I was like them. So I could not connect with them in the way that I wanted to. So I was a weird, distant young guy. And not because I wasn't a good person, not because I didn't want to make that effort, because I just didn't feel like they would accept me. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they would have now looking back on it. But so I didn't have those people. I couldn't talk to those people. So I just had this. And thank God I had this, because it was everything when I needed it to be everything. And that's why for me, this isn't just a game. It transcends the topic of what's a great video game or what is the best video game. To me, it's easy. This is the best video game ever made because it saved my damn life. It did. And not because I was wanting to off myself or something like that, you know, but I was going to a bad place. Losing your life is more than just one thing, you know. And if you get to a deep enough, bad enough place, it can be almost impossible to get out. So I am thankful. I'm grateful that I had this. I want to say, and they'll probably never see it, but I mean, I want to say thank you to everybody at Squaresoft. Back in the day, it was Squaresoft, not Square Enix, that made this game. Tetsuya Nomura, Yoshinori Kitase, Kazushige Nojima. Sorry if I butchered his name, Nojima. And everybody else, Nobuo Uematsu, who made this amazing score. I was probably the only guy at the gym in the mid-20s that had the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack that he worked out to. You know, I mean, it's stuff like that. And I want to say thank you. Because this, I mean, you are making a game because you need to make the next Final Fantasy. You need to make the next game. Profits, all that kind of stuff. Keeping the company afloat, keeping your jobs, but at the same time expressing yourselves creatively. But what the gravity of what you all need to embrace is that you gave a lot of people something that they needed at a time when they needed it. It wasn't just you were providing a game, you were providing comfort, you were providing support, you were providing a way, an escape from all the noise. And it saved a lot of people's lives. A lot of people I've talked to, a lot of people in my comment sections the past few days, been saying the same thing. And now I'm saying the same thing. Thank you for giving us something that is profound, that saved lives, that put people on a lot of their trajectories. I wouldn't be trying to be a creator today, a story creator, content creator, writing comics, trying to work on animation, writing novels, if I had not experienced this game. So thank you. And to everybody out there watching this, I am very, very grateful for all of your support, all of you all. It's been a wild ride up to this point. I just can't say enough great things about all of you all. Everybody's been super positive and super cool and just excited and hyped for this remake. I don't care what age you are. I don't care what age you are. You know, it's, you know, whether you're 15 years old or whether you're 75 years old. People of all ages play this game. When I was like 17 playing this on our little black and white tube television, my dad didn't understand what was going on, but even he was taken with this story. He would lay on the couch, and instead of going in his room watching TV, he would sit on the couch and watch me play this game. And he would ask questions. He'd be like, so what happened to the girl? So she just comes back, right? I mean, it's a game. I'm like, oh man, she's gone. What? He was like, well, can't you just like, you know, throw a Mario mushroom or something? He didn't know. I mean, he was like, but it hit him too. He was like, oh, so this is like a movie. And I was like, yeah, it's like a movie, you know? And so, but yeah, I mean, now I'm rambling. I'm going to end this video, but I am so excited. You all don't even know. I'm so excited to play this game tonight. It just really means everything. It does. I mean, and I'm not like looking for this to be, oh, it's got to be 10 stars. Oh, it's got to be this. They got to cover this. It's an homage. And to culminate everything I've been saying this whole time, it all leads to this. And what I'm wanting to say is the remake, I'm not judging the remake. You all can judge it however you want. You can look at Metacritic scores, you can look at star ratings, you whatever. You know, for me, it's not about any of that. This is an homage to something that was profound, to something that helped me get through my life in bad times when I didn't know what depression was, but I knew that I was experiencing something bad. This was the only thing I had to pull me out. This was it. And this remake, this right here, this thing, it's an homage to that. It's an homage to that. And if it were just me, I'd keep it to myself, but it's not. It's hundreds of thousands of people out there that feel the same way. That feel the same way. That's stronger than any score. That's stronger than any kind of like tangible, inconsequential thing you can put on it. Square, those people back in the mid-90s when they developed this game and they worked on this game, they made this thing. They made something special. They made something timeless. They made something that will last as long as people are here on this earth. They made something. They made art. They made one of the greatest works of art, the greatest work of art ever to come out of the video game realm. Because art is more than just like, you know, what's the frame rate? What resolution is it? Can I play it in 8K? What's the frame rate? Can I get up to 130, frame rate? What's the sound quality? Can I get that shit don't matter. That shit don't matter. This touched a lot of people's soul. And you can't put a rating on that. And you won't put a rating on that. So I'm going to leave it at that. To everybody at Squaresoft, if you ever see this video, thank you all so much for giving us something amazing. The names I can think of off the top of my head: Tetsuya Nomura, Yoshinori Kitase, Kazushige Nojima, Nobuo Matsu, and a host of others. And I know I'm forgetting names. I know you're going to tell me about in the comments. I'm just coming off the cuff 100% like I always do. You all know how I do it. But anyway, I'll keep it at that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for the support, everybody on my YouTube channel, my Twitch. Those who have come, those who have left, those who are still here, and those who will yet get to my channel and see my stuff in the future and see this video a few years down the road, even maybe years from now after I'm gone, if this video is still on the internet. Find this thing and play it, enjoy it, let it speak to you, man. It's one of those profound things. Everybody's got that movie or that book or that, that something, that proverb that was whispered into their ear, that word from a wise man or woman that was whispered in their ear. For me, it was this. And nobody can ever take that away from me or you. And I know a lot of you all out there have the same story, or a similar story to mine. Not my same story, but my similar story to mine. That's all there is to say. It's like I've been saying about this remake the whole time. There's nothing left to say. I have said everything I want to say up to this point. I've gotten everything out there for you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it spoke to some of you. That was my goal with this video and yesterday's video. I want you all to go forth and enjoy yourselves and enjoy tonight and enjoy the coming weeks as you're going through this game and finishing things. But also, enjoy your life. Enjoy life. Just enjoy life, Loved ones, people you care about, that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, that's the theme of this game, is life. Cherishing life. I think that's what I took from it. I think that's why it helped me so much. After the third or fourth time I played through it, I think I got that theme. I haven't talked about it before because I've been saving it for this video, But the whole theme of this game is just cherish life. Cherish the living around you, and don't take anything for granted, because you never know when somebody or something is going to be gone. That's a horrible feeling. We experienced that. The storytellers showed us that in the story. And yeah, So just enjoy your life. Go live it up. Go soak it up. Tell somebody you love them. Take care of them. Let them take care of you. You all have a great night. I will see you all here very soon. We are going to party tonight. This was a little emotional. This was a little heavy, but we are going to party and have a good time tonight. So you all have a great night. Keep rocking. I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care.